Good morning and welcome to TaylorMade on emPOWERme.tv. I'm your host, Brian Rada. What is TaylorMade? TaylorMade is an approach to style and fashion as an opportunity for your authentic self-expression. This morning we are joined by filmmaker, creative consultant, and celebrity stylist, Miss Jen Kleiner. Good morning, Jen.
Hi, Brian. Great to be here.
Excellent. So we're so happy to have you here on the show.
Well, I do love fashion, and there's a lot of hot fashion happening right now, so let's talk about it.
Excellent. Let's jump straight to it. Here we go. So first up, I want to talk about the Art and Film Gala that happened this past weekend here in Los Angeles. There was a lot of fun stuff happening there. It was the convergence of both the art world and the film world. I think Los Angeles is really making a play here to be major contenders in the art world. LA is not known for its, famous artists, its visual artists. We're more known for our performing artists. But LACMA, the Los Angeles County of modern art, is really being the hub of all the new artists that are coming in. So first up on the red carpet, the event was chaired by Leonardo DiCaprio, and they honored Martin Scorcese and David Hockney. Here you see Mr. Leo and Mr. Martin Scorsese. We're going to go through all of these beautiful images, and then we'll come and talk about them at the end. Next up, we have Fergie and Josh Duhamel. Next up, Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis. We have the lovely designers, the Malavi sisters. Then we have Sting, who has his hands in his pocket for some reason. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. He looks a little sloppy for me, but we'll come to him in a minute. We have, now this next image is really quite something. Guess who this is? This is Drew Barrymore. I'm not quite sure what exactly happened here. I don't know if it's a weird angle. It barely even looks like Drew Barrymore. I don't know if there's some weight gain. I don't know if it's just the dress she's wearing, but that is Drew Barrymore. Next we have Warren Beatty and Jeremy Renner, who, and I have to say, I think, Warren Beatty is really rocking it out here. He's, he hasn't changed for the last 20 years. He looks exactly the same. And finally, we have Robert Downey Jr., Tom Hanks, and Mary J. Blige, and again, Sting. So first off, I want to talk about a lot of these images. I think they're really interesting, and the pair of trios that we have here, I think, is distinctly unique. I find the pairing of Fergie and Josh Duhamel really, really interesting. The fact that these two are married, I think, is just hilarious. She seems so downtown and earthy to me, and he seems so uptown and a little more, polished. And the fact that they're married, and even on the red carpet, I think they look mismatched. What are your thoughts on that, Jen?
We're first of all opposites attract, so that's my thought on that. Obviously, they like each other because they wouldn't be married if they didn't. But in terms of their outfits, I wouldn't have necessarily chosen navy blue and black to represent them in terms of unity. I think their height contrast is so stark anyway that doing something that doesn't connect them, like putting an ink and a black together, it just kind of brings out their separateness rather than uniting them as a couple.
No, I agree. We've seen a lot of famous couples throughout the ages who you would never guess necessarily pair together. And I think for me, this is sort of a modern couple that I would never guess. And now, if we go to the next image here, we have Olivia Wilde and Jason Sudeikis from Saturday Night Live. And now here, this is the opposite. I think she's very uptown, and he's very downtown. I think they have very different energies in that regard. But I think they look lovely here. What are your thoughts, Jen?
I think they're a gorgeous couple. They have great energy together. Olivia Wilde is stunning. I usually love her on the red carpet. That look isn't my favorite of hers. I think that type of a neckline isn't the most flattering, but she's gorgeous. She'd be gorgeous in sweatpants. So, together as a couple, I think they're very lovely.
Got it. And our third odd pairing are the Malavi sisters of Rodarte fame. These two are fashion designers. They're known for their romantic, whimsical looks. Personally, I think here they look like they're in an Edgar Allan Poe poem. And, but I mean, I think you know a little bit more about them than I do, Jen. What are your thoughts on this image?
I'll just say that, these women are known for drama. and they're incredible artists, and I don't think they dress to be sexy, and I don't think they dress for permission. I think they dress for their individuality, and I don't think that that necessarily is the same for everyone. I don't think it's a universal look that they, share, but I think they're amazingly talented artists and designers, and very cool. They're kind of cool for being unique and odd, and dressing to their own drummers.
I would definitely agree. They look like a little bit of a throwback to the Mamas and the Papas. If that's sort of that, like there's that romantic 70s in them that I think really is fun. And there's a darkness there. I'm a big theater buff myself, and I look at them and I think of Masha from The Cherry Orchard, of all things. I don't know if anybody knows The Cherry Orchard. It's a great play, but the play starts out. Masha comes out and she's like, "I'm in mourning for my life." My personal belief on this is, you can have that style, but you're on a red carpet, you're at a fun event. I understand having your personal aesthetic, but I'm also believe you should sort of adapt to the environment that you're in. So I'm just a little curious as to why they're not smiling in the photos. But, if mod is your thing, rock it out, Malavi sisters, because it's working for you. Okay. Now I just want to get to Sting here again. We can throw him back on the monitor here. Sting, I don't understand what, we see this image here. He's got he's got his hands in his pocket, and again, we talked about this yesterday, where if you're going to wear a tie, wear a tie. I don't like what he's doing here, where his tie is so loose. Why even wear the tie? I think he would have looked better and crisper if he took the tie out. If you're going to wear the tie, button it all the way to the top, play it out. And I don't understand the hands in the pockets. Do you have any commentary on that, Jen?
I do. I've dressed a lot of rock stars, and
Okay.
A lot of them are not comfortable wearing ties and would never choose to wear ties. And so it's very normal for them after an event or during an event to not wear the top button and just kind of loosen the tie. I mean, if you actually did like a comparison and look of a bunch of guys who, rock out during the day, they don't wear ties at night, and when they do, they're usually uncomfortable pulling it out. Even guys that I've styled now who aren't rock stars, who are, they're not tie men, which is really funny because they represent glamour, but they're often unbuttoning and pulling down.
But if you're I understand if it's after the event at the end of a long night, but why in the middle of the event not try to carry it through for at least a couple hours, at least for the red carpet?
I agree with you. I think giving your best and putting your best face forward on a red carpet is what it's all about. But when you're a rock star like Sting, and you've been doing this for as many years as him, going to an event at the LACMA is not your night. So you don't care so much about how you present on the red carpet because the entire world knows you. So if you want to put your hands in your pockets or undo your tie, you're still Sting, and we're going to love you anyway.
Okay, agreed. Touche. Sting can pretty much, he has a get out of jail free card for almost anything because he's Sting. Okay, I hear you on that one. And I just want to wrap up this section by saying that Robert Downey Jr., the last two images here, Robert Downey Jr. really kills it for me. I energetically really vibe with him. I understand, I think he's had a wild past, but when he shows up to these events, he's always really himself. He does formal, but he does his version of formal, which I really respect. And I like the fact that he went for the bow tie, but then didn't wear a vest or didn't do anything. It's really simple, but it also makes a statement. Like everything's black, but he's got the statement bow tie. Do you have any thoughts on that?
He's always a statement guy. Usually he's very colorful, kind of flamboyant, loves to wear handkerchiefs. But I love this look because it's very elegant, and at the same time, the bow tie is the flash of what's unique about him.
And I just want to conclude here again with Tom Hanks, who I really believe just wins this whole award show or the event, the art and film gala at LACMA. He's hanging out with Mary J. Blige. Not only is he hanging out with Mary J. Blige, but he has a Corona in one hand. So Tom Hanks, to you, you win the art and film gala at LACMA. Okay, moving on here. We had a lot of controversy here this last week in the fashion world with a little bit of going on at the Kitson store here in Beverly Hills. Tamron Hall of the Today Show, pictured here, actually said that it was irresponsible for the store Kitson to carry the designs of designer Brian Lichtenberg. Brian Lichtenberg is known for his provocative and cheeky images. And what you see here is he's taken football jerseys and he's putting the names of prescription drugs on all the football jerseys. So he put the names of Xanax, Adderall, and what's the other one? Vicodin on the back of these football jerseys. And so it kind of caused a controversy. People went up in arms about it, saying that it promoted drug use. The Today Show covered it, and Tamron Hall says, people should not shop there until they get that down. It's irresponsible. There was some backlash, and obviously Kitson saw some sales drop. They actually then rebutted and told people to boycott the Today Show. So this is a really interesting, example of fashion as both art and cultural conversation. And I'm curious, Jen, what your thoughts are on this.
It's actually a fascinating debate because personally, I think the shirts are awesome. I think that they're a commentary on our drug culture, on how many of our, teammates are using in order to do their jobs. I personally like the reference of teammates and knowing so many different cliques of women who exist and thrive on Adderall and Xanax. So I think it's really a social commentary. However, I also know that most people and younger people, especially kids and teenagers, are not so up on, figurative metaphors, and so they see that and think it's super cool, and they think it's a literal reference to this is something we're condoning. And if they don't understand that it's really more of a commentary, then they might see it as a promotion. And so I understand the debate. However, I do not think personally that reporters on the Today Show should be condemning an artist or a designer because of a personal, feeling towards the art. So.
Well, it really pushes lines between journalism and commentary, right? I mean, she's really making a comment, like her personal commentary, her personal opinion versus just reporting the facts of what's happening. But, I think we're seeing journalism go towards that, and it does have effects on businesses. Classic example in recent years with Oprah, one of the biggest things when she commented on the beef industry, and they sued her. But she obviously won because of free speech. So I think it's something to be.
Right. I also think there's a difference between a personal preference and expressing that to the public, and then telling the public what to do based on your personal preference. I think there's a difference.
Exactly, and I think that's what Tamron Hall did. She said, until they take that down, don't shop there.
Exactly.
And that's a huge, she's got a huge platform. So, it's the same thing. And it's not a surprise that this, if we go to Miley Cyrus for a second, that Miley Cyrus has actually worn, Brian's designs as well as Lady Gaga. So you do see people pushing the envelope in that regard, and it does have an effect on, young, impressionable boys and girls throughout the country. All right, moving on. Let's talk a little bit more about you, Jen, and your background. I know you, let's look at styling. It's fall, there's a lot of stuff happening. For those of you who don't know, Jen, besides being a prolific filmmaker, is also a celebrity stylist. One of her main clients is Guy Pearce from such films as Memento and numerous other big blockbuster films. We have him here, looking, one of his classic, beautiful images. He's such a chameleon. I think, he looks different in every image. Here he is on a red carpet as well. And Jen continues to be his personal stylist. What has it been like working with Guy Pearce, Jen?
Oh my God, it's such a pleasure. I'm so lucky. And I get to style Guy and his wife, Kate, for all their red carpet appearances or premieres or awards. And it's wonderful. It's fun. They're easy to work with. They're gorgeous in clothes. It's like having real-life Barbies that you admire, and you get to dress them up. And he's one of my favorite actors. So as a director and a writer, it's even more satisfying to support his work in the public world. Excellent,
excellent. Well, he seems like a really cool guy. I mean, again, much like we saw in Tom Hanks, like he seems like somebody you'd want to go have a beer with, right? Like there's always that likability factor, and I think Guy Pearce really has that. He seems down to earth, and I really like the fact that his look changes like a chameleon every time. And Jen, you also have a background working for Burberry. We've pulled up some really great images here. These are actually photographs that you've taken of people, really famous people, in trench coats. The first one we have is Guy Pearce and his wife Kate. who look really smashing here. And looks like spring, summer?
This is spring, yeah.
Spring, and they're still in trench coats, which I think is really cool. Chris Hemsworth, who we actually talked about on the show yesterday, obviously a very fashionable guy wearing a Burberry trench coat here. Mr. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad, his co-star Bryan Cranston rocking the nice trench coat there, and obviously another rock star, Jason Statham. So do you have any commentary on trench coats, and is there a right way to wear a trench coat? Do you encourage people to keep them open, button them up, depending upon the season?
I think it's nice if you're using, a trench coat is so versatile. You can wear it during the day, you can wear it at night. It just instantly adds style. I always tell people, if you're going to buy a nice piece, a branded piece of clothing, go for outerwear and handbags, because those last the longest, and trenches are incredible. You can wear them during the winter, during the summer, and if you're going to do a nighttime event, and let's say you're doing red carpet, usually you're not going to be wearing your coat. But if you're going to something where outerwear is appropriate, then it's cool to have it, closed and buttoned up, and you can see the gorgeous buttons, and obviously Burberry has incredible appendages, so it's beautiful to see what they do.
Got it. Well, how much would a Burberry trench coat go for? And if I can't afford a Burberry trench coat, what's another appropriate line you could suggest that would also be something that I would want to try out for the people who are on a conscious budget?
Burberry trench coats are very expensive. I think probably the lowest priced coat that's not on sale would be around $1,000.
Okay.
But it's more of a daytime trench, which is fantastic. There's always, I know there's Burberry outlets all over the place. Okay. But if you're going for, a more affordable trench look, oh wow, you could go to J. Crew, you could go, there's all different kinds of very affordable designers that do trenches, and trenches are just so classic. They're just like peacoats. They last forever, and they're beautiful.
Got it. To wrap up, I'm now encouraging all of our guest bloggers who come in here to share one item that's their favorite piece. And Jen, we have a fun little feathery thing here. Ooh. Jen actually brought in, oh, look at this. What is this? So, because I want to talk about what this means for you real quick before we finish the show. And you brought in a hoodie. This looks like a hoodie. What does this mean?
I brought in my favorite hoodie of all time. This was given to me by my bestie, Emily Bro. She works at Tokidoki, and this is a Tokidoki sweatshirt.
Okay.
And I'm a huge fan. I wear this sweatshirt all the time, religiously, day or night. I'll dress it up at night with cool boots or heels and a cool outerwear jacket. During the day, I wear it with my sweatpants or my jeans. It makes me so happy.
It makes you feel, I can get a sense you probably feel really comfortable in this.
Yeah.
And you feel really cool.
I love it.
You're like just hanging out around town.
It's my fave. It's my jam.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time we have for TaylorMade today. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us on emPOWERme.tv or follow the show on Twitter at TaylorMadeBrian. Where can people find you, Jen Kleiner?
They can find me at jenkleiner.com, and you can also follow me on Instagram at jenkleiner.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining us today here on emPOWERme.tv, and we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we will again approach style and fashion as an opportunity for your authentic self-expression.